So we would bring you further developments of what's happened in Parliament and how they intend to fix the issue about the roof that was ripped off from last night. In a related development, though, the acting Public Affairs Director of Parliament, Madam Kate Addo, says that tarpaulin has been put on the roof to prevent further leakage.
Work has been going on various on the various buildings. The Job 600 is a fairly new renovated building. The administration block is a new building. The speaker's block does not have those problems. The chamber block is where the problem occurred. I have been told by the contractors that they've put a tarpaulin on it. The tarpaulin is to prevent the water from leaking should the rains come again. That's the immediate solution. So we can actually go back to work in the chamber.
Okay, so we would want to just take a step back to find out why the Vice President will go to Parliament and why the Speaker is saying that business would continue as usual, irrespective of a major disaster that hit the House of Parliament yesterday. There was a major rainfall and the House of Parliament, the chamber itself, started leaking. Those are some of the visuals from last night's rainfall, and what you can see now are the outer part of the House of Legislature Parliament, and these are still visuals from the development of last night's rainfall. And on your screens now is that particular video that TV3 put out yesterday. You can see a dust bin on the table of where the clerks sit, and that was what was used to collect the water that was seeping from the roof yesterday after the very windy storm that hit the part of the capital. So we are told now that some tarpaulin has been used to cover where the water was, the rainwater was seeping from, and business is going to continue as usual. The Vice President has also promised that a second chamber for the House of Legislature would be considered strongly as he awaits the arrival of the President to tell him about the development. But Speaker, Professor Michael Kwe says that this will not prevent them from delivering their business. They will still go ahead to do what is expected of them as the representatives of the nation. So not only the Parliament suffered from yesterday evening's rainfall or rainstorm, it brought down a tree completely blocking the John Hammond Road in front of TV3 here at Kanda. This is the second time in less than 6 months that the branches of this particular tree inside the Information Services yard across the street has been brought down by such heavy rains. Tuesday evening's development compelled motorists to, those especially heading to Kanda, to make a U-turn to go back to use the road headed towards GBC. Here, the tree took one lane of the dual carriage road, the central part of GBC bus stop, showing traffic to the other side. It is obvious that motorists would have to endure with the trouble of going around the tree until Wednesday, which is today, when city authorities may respond. But as of midday today, the parts of the tree had been cut away, and the information we have is that traffic flow is better now. But authorities are still there going around town to fix billboards that also fell as a result of the windy storm. And we know for sure also that government says that a lot of these things would be dealt with accordingly. We know that some state institutions are supposed to be taking part in ensuring that we do not have any such disasters. But what would the solution be so that anytime there is such a windy, stormy disaster, we can respond to salvaging any situation, save life and property? We have been joined in studio by Prince Billy Anaglata. He is the National Public Relations Officer for the Ghana National Fire Service acting. Let me quickly bring him into the conversation, and then we can find out really whether you can go out and have a traffic-free route. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, good afternoon for the opportunity once again.
Good. Yesterday, a lot of people were surprised, were taken by surprise. Yeah. One would find out from the Ghana Meteor whether they knew we were to expect such storm. But before that, the disaster that has been left in the wake of the storm, billboards are falling, major trees have blocked roads and all of that. What role is the National Fire Service expected to play when we have such a storm blocking roads, you know, threatening life?
Well, thank you. It is true that fire service is to protect life and property, so ours is about public safety. Situation of this nature, you agree with me that yes, lives might be involved if it comes to you know, rains and then maybe windy conditions such as what we had yesterday. Many a time when it happened this way, people are even trapped in their homes. Like yesterday, few people were trapped. The fire service is in there to effect rescue. Even since it came with the rain, maybe this flooding situation, the fire service is in there to prime water from people's homes to make the place safe for them. If it is the situation, the fire itself, we are there to fight fire. If it is any building that has collapsed during the windy situation, we are there to ensure that if there is any excavation or, you know, rescue operations, we definitely have to do that. So fire service generally is all about any life-threatening situation such as this. We were talking about a tree that has fallen. The fire service hitherto was having equipment that we need to chop off those trees when they are falling across the roads or falling on a building or even on vehicles. Those are some of the areas that we look at.
Would come back to see what your role would be and how that fits into NADMO's role, because we know that even their name says a National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO. They are supposed to be sorting out some of these things. So how do they collaborate with you, the military and the police, you know, in going ahead with your, you know, delivering your duty? But let's find out really what the weather should be like and why we're having rains at this time of the year. Is it expected or it is out of place? You know, according to standard information, Ghana has two main seasons, the wet and the dry season. Northern Ghana experiences its rainy season between the months of March and November. The southern part of the country, where we are, experiences its rainy season from April to the middle part of November. There are two rainy seasons in the northern part of Ghana, that is between April and June, and then also September through to November. So that's one of the major statistics. So if yesterday, which is actually the last day of the month of January, and then today, 1st February, we're experiencing such a major torrential rain, how does that fit into this timetable that we know? Let's go to the Ghana Meteo Office, where we've been joined by Joseph Potofi. He's the principal meteorologist with the Ghana Meteorological Agency. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. Hello, Mr. Potofi. Mr. Joseph Potofi, good afternoon. Can you hear me? All right, so we seem not to be able to hear Mr. Potofi. We will try and work the lines again and reconnect with him. When we do get him, would find out whether they knew about this storm. Mr. Potofi, good afternoon, if you can hear me. Unfortunately, he is unable to hear us, or we are unable to hear him, but would work the lines to get him, and then would put a few questions to him as well. Let's come back to you, Mr. Anaglate. How do you collaborate with the Meteo Agency, and do they tell you or give you prior information that a storm is expected in a day or two, so alert your men and be on guard?
Well, actually, as much as we work together, but to that extent, as today giving us, you know, periodic information on the changes of the weather, I would say no, not that I'm aware of. But that does not stop the fire service also from doing what it is. Situations of this nature, anytime the weather is changing or all that, the fire service, based on our experience and technicalities, we are able to determine the various categories of disasters that might follow up. If it is going to be windy without rain, we know what situation we need to be looking out for. Then we prepare towards that. If it's going to be with rain, then we also know.
Is it that the fire service has a mini weather department that is able to preempt, or you wait like every other citizen, it rains and then you say, okay, men, there's a storm, let's get to action?
We do not have any mini, weather
unit.
Yes, department. Exactly. But with the training that we have, you are able to determine from far. You are on duty.
Okay.
So the environment forms part of what you are in to do. So as you are there, expecting that there could be anything, those are the things that you are looking out for. So as the weather is changing, you know, it's changing towards a situation that you might be definitely involved. So quickly we are able to read into what the weather is coming from. So if you're on duty, based on the training that you are given, if it is going to rain, quick, you know, we all see the clouds. But yesterday's one, personally, I believe it took everybody
by surprise. And we've been joined, I hope that we have a better connection now. Mr. Joe Portofie, good afternoon and thank you for joining us. Hello, Mr. Portofie. We seem to be having a difficulty with the challenge, but with the line. I actually wanted to find out from you whether the Ghana Meteor Agency was able to preempt the storm yesterday, and if yes, were you able to give the information out to people before the storm? Unfortunately, we are unable to connect with Mr. Joe Portofie, but we would try to get him because we need to get answers. And so a lot of questions that have come up, like we have all agreed to that. It took almost everybody by surprise, but the state institution mandated and equipped underlined, with the necessary equipment to be able to tell whether or not we are going to be having such storms, should be able to know. So did they know? Did they inform us? Did they alert people like the fire service, NADMO, and all the agencies that need such information? And what happened to the aviation industry as well, the airports and all? Let's come back to Mr. Asiedu-Dartey. We want to find out the role of the fire service, and then also NADMO. Is there an overlap somewhere, or you guys work separately? How do you connect?
Well, as far as I know, NADMO is the coordinator. NADMO is to coordinate all the activities of all other physical operational agencies.
Okay.
That is what NADMO is. But you know, many times you can't say that all these agencies are well equipped in terms of strength, you know, workforce, equipment, and all that. So they don't need any assistance from anywhere. So I believe it was based on that NADMO has also gone a little bit to have few equipments, their men being trained to assist the fire service when it comes to flood situation, when it comes to even firefighting and all that. So it is not that, you know, maybe probably our duties overlap, but in terms of assistance,
we collaborate to work.
Yeah, exactly.
And at what point? So if, for instance, yesterday's disaster happened and I was stuck somewhere, what institution do I call first? Is it the Ghana Police or NADMO or fire service, or maybe the military?
Well, actually, fire service is the leading agency when it comes to some of this issue. But it happens that even if you call the police, several people call the police, and the police also call the fire service, because we have that, you know, collaborative procedure. So they quickly, when you call NADMO will also call us. When you call fire service, and we also get to the scene, and we realize that no, we might need assistance from all other agencies. We call NADMO, we call the military, we call all those, even the police. Many times when it happens, we need the police also to try and ensure that yes, people
are exactly
in the place to enable us to work. So whether you call any of those ones, but we keep saying that the public should be able to determine what agency needs to be called in terms of the particular
but then that will mean your outfit may not have put out enough information for the public to know, because honestly, I'm sure that 80% of people on the street, when you ask them about what the fire service is supposed to do, your name even suggested fire service, so you're supposed to be dealing with infernos and major fire disasters, you know. But this other thing you're saying seems to be news to many, that your role transcends just fighting fire and rescuing people, but then dealing with disasters that may arise from storms like what we experienced yesterday. So does that mean that maybe your outfit hasn't been proactive in giving out information? Well,
I wouldn't say we've not been, you know, well, the education, we have done so many educations here where we even talk about we getting even to the road when there is an accident, people call the police. Of course, you call them, but if you come to physical education and all that, it is the fire service. This education has been ongoing. But what I also want to admit is that, of course, maybe at the time that the fire service was formed, was established, the focus initially was about firefighting, and then they look at it from that perspective, and that was how the name was coined. Okay. But if you look at the acts, you know, 537, that actually established fire service. If you look at the rules, firefighting is only the least among all that we do. Yes. It is when the unexpected happen that we need to go and fight it. But ours also is to prevent it, to ensure that all those disasters are prevented. And then when it comes, we should also ensure that, well, we manage it and trying to reduce maybe death or injury in those situations. So firefighting is not a major role of fire service.
We'd also want to find out from you, so what has happened yesterday, and we're just using yesterday because that's the latest development with regard to, you know, some distraction to property and then, you know, threats to life and all. What specifics are you supposed to do? Do you have the equipment to be able to, you know, quickly come and clear off a big tree that has blocked a road? Are you able to?
Not yesterday, but before, yes, the fire service was having dormer machines and all equipment that there were even balloons and all that you can slip under a falling vehicle and blow it off, and you are able to, yes. But now we do not have all that in terms of what happened yesterday. So yesterday, all that, though we were out there were few situations, and here and there the fire service was out there doing everything possible to see what to do to protect people. But as to the level, I'm comparing yesterday to what we used to do. Yes, there are few, though we are keep to do some of those things, but then there are few other auxiliary gears, so to say, yes, that will assist us to go further. Like yesterday, somebody should call us that the tree has fallen as we are talking. Previously, we have moved directly to that place and chop it off. But yesterday, they wouldn't have been able to do that because we no longer have those
equipment.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, on TV3, we have this show we call Chicago Fire. Had you watched it?
Yeah, very, very
you like
interesting.
It?
So much.
Yes. I mean, every disaster they're able to get, and it's amazing how they're able to get equipment for almost every, you know, disaster that would happen. But we'll come back to you to see how you help solving what has happened to Parliament. Now, let's go to Parliament. Talking about Parliament, let's go to Parliament though. And Evelyn Tingma is our reporter there, and she's giving us an update of how proceedings are ongoing.
Removing the debris. We saw workers taking the roofing sheets, and but on top of the building also we have some of the roofing sheets still there, and I'm sure definitely that will be taken off by close of day. As the public relations officer told us that workers are going to work on this particular building some few days to come. But as we speak, the House is yet to begin proceedings, and so we have some few members of Parliament in the chamber, not quite many. The Speaker hasn't been here, but like the Speaker told us earlier, sitting will be held today and is going to come on in this particular chamber. And so we can say that Parliament will be sitting today, but as at now, they have not started proceedings, and members of Parliament are here waiting for proceedings to begin.
Somebody there behind the jeep. All right, so Evelyn, thank you very much. But would you be able to tell us whether or not that is how business is supposed to be? Because the house seems kind of empty. Is it that they are into caucus meetings, or is it because of the rain?
Right, and Martin, that I cannot say, but there's supposed to be a caucus meeting, both members will not be here. But as we speak, there are some members of Parliament from the majority side, they are here. those also from the minority are also here. If they were to be having caucus meeting, most of the members would not be here. So I guess it is not about a caucus meeting, but maybe the speaker and leadership are meeting probably to discuss, the agenda for the day and what exactly the situation will be. Looking at yesterday, how the rains affected work and all that. So I don't think it's a caucus meeting. I haven't heard of anything like that. And the number of MPs I'm seeing here, I'm not sure there is a caucus meeting, Martin.
All right, thank you very much, Evelyn Tingma. She is TV3's parliamentary correspondent, giving us an update of what's happening in the House. Let's wrap up this interview with Mr. Billy Anaglate on their role as state institution that does not only fight fire, but, are supposed to be there in case of any natural disaster or probably even unnatural disasters. Finally, let's focus on Parliament. That's the House of Legislature, a major part of running our affairs. They had a major issue yesterday. What kind of role would the fire service play in resolving the problem they had?
Well, all the activities and the operational, roles that we have, Parliament is look at Ghana as a whole. We also have our fire units within Parliament. They are there 24/7. That in case of any emergency, they respond swiftly and quickly to help them. There have been few instances where false alarm in terms of their smoke detectors peak and it triggers, and quickly our men were there to assist in evacuation and all that. So if they were to be in session before even this happened, I believe they would have been saved because the firemen are already at hand to assist them and really to ensure that they get evacuated, smoothly to wherever they have to go.
All right. Thank you for the education that you've given us this afternoon, and we wish you and your men well. We hope that at least the government watches and hears and sorts you out in terms of equipment and the necessary gear so you can continue saving life and property. It's always a pleasure having you with us.
Thank you.
Anaglate. All right, so this is still Midday Live. We'll be speaking to Prince Billy Anaglate. He's the head of public relations for the Ghana National Fire Service, and he's been helping us understand their role and what they do. So anytime there is any kind of disaster, they are the first point of call before maybe the police or other state institutions.